So I was talking about this on Twitter, and it brought forth something that I was like, I want to make a video about this. Now, we all know One Piece is the most popular manga of all time. Most selling manga, 300 plus million copies. By the end of its run, it'll probably have 500 million sales, probably even more, right? Really big deal, whatever. Naruto, it was pretty popular, but nowhere near the success of One Piece, just because in Japan, One Piece dominated. Difference is, though, with Naruto is that it did very well abroad in the West. Naruto captured the audience similar to that of Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z blew up. Well, it was big in Japan, but it also blew up in the West. Naruto was somewhat big in Japan, well, pretty big in Japan, I want to say, but it was huge in the West, still is huge in the West. And it brought forth an interesting question. If you've been watching and reading a lot of the latest shonen anime and manga, two immediately coming to mind, then you will notice something big, and is not throwing any shade. I want to repeat, I'm not throwing any shade at any series within this video. I'm just stating my observations and giving my opinion and input on something that I find interesting. My Hero Academia and Black Clover, two of the upcoming shonens. My Hero Academia has exploded in popularity. Black Clover just got the anime launched, right? We got episode 1, episode 2 coming out and whatnot. And it's interesting that while One Piece is the omega, it's the biggest thing in Japan, period, when it comes to shonen anime and manga, and pretty much manga as a whole, again, biggest selling, it seems as though these series are more so very heavily inspired by Naruto opposed to One Piece. And that got me thinking, why wouldn't people model their series and use a blueprint for their series from the biggest thing of them all, One Piece? Why would they go after Naruto? And it made me start thinking a couple different things. Well, for starters, the thing with One Piece is, I feel as though, while, yeah, there is a simplicity to it where all ages can get into it, I think that's one of the great things about One Piece, where little kids can get into it, but adults can get into it as well. It seems as though with One Piece, it's a hard recipe to follow, simply because One Piece, it starts off somewhat a little bit in the slow aspect, and it's a build and a journey, but it also has a lot of complexities to it. There's a lot of deep aspects to it. While Naruto, it has more of a deeper meaning to a certain degree. I don't want to say it's a deeper meaning as a whole or whatever before people are like, you're throwing shade at One Piece. No, what I'm trying to say is Naruto focuses in on more of character relationships, and yeah, there's a story to it, but like Naruto and Sasuke, one of the big reasons why they're so freaking popular is because they were focused in their relationship, their struggles, what they were going through, the, Naruto trying to save him and whatnot. And I feel as though one of the big reasons why, which there's a couple I'm going to list, but I think one of them is that it's a lot easier with Naruto to kind of model your series after than One Piece. One Piece is like, you have to go through all of these characters being introduced. You got to go through all this incredible world building, and there's just so many aspects to it that is really hard to capture even something remotely close to One Piece with your series. And on top of that, so we got that. I feel as though One Piece is just a bit too complex to really try and use as a blueprint to a certain degree. Again, One Piece can be simplistic. Hey, there's fights. Hey, they go to a new island. Hey, they meet new people. Hey, they have tragedies and shit like that. But there's a lot more to it with One Piece. Naruto is kind of like, okay, you got this kid that he was rags to riches story, which is a classic story. Everybody loves the rags to riches stories. Whether you go to anime and manga, you go to fucking hip hop, go back in the days, Juicy, Biggie. You know what I'm saying? It's like people love the rags to riches story. So that's definitely something people want to root for, the underdog. On top of that, the relationship between Naruto and Sasuke, people really enjoyed that as well. It was something that kept the fans going. So you see something like in My Hero Academia, Deku and Bakugo, Black Clover, Asta and Yuno, very similar. So it seems as though it's a lot easier for people to use that as a blueprint. But on top of that, going back to something that I mentioned earlier, and I feel as though it's a very vital aspect of why people are modeling their series after Naruto opposed to One Piece, is the fact that in the West, Naruto again dominated One Piece. One Piece beat Naruto at home. In Japan, which Japan is the big one that matters the most because that's where anime and manga sells the most in Japan. But in the West, Naruto won, essentially. And I remember Eiichiro Oda saying, like, even though he beat Naruto in, total sales and shit like that, he never beat Naruto in the West. So I think one of the things about it, maybe it's a romanticization, maybe there's money that we just don't really know about that comes in that is a lot more globally opposed to just back at home, is that if they can get their series to get that same capturing of that same fan base, that Naruto had in the West, maybe there's more money involved in it. Because that's what I'm starting to think is like, why wouldn't, and to me it's really interesting, why wouldn't you model your shit after the biggest and most successful thing out there? You could argue that people will say, well, hey, you know, it's people recognize immediately you're copying up One Piece because it's so popular. Naruto is pretty popular too. So it kind of got me thinking as well. Okay, so we got two aspects down. We got the fact that One Piece is very complex to a certain degree to really capture that recipe, especially in a modern day where, and I talked about this a little bit, where you got to be very quick about things. You can't do the slow build up anymore like you used to. You got to go all balls deep, which is why series like My Hero Academia and Black Clover, they go really, really fast in the beginning to capture people and really grab people in. And with One Piece, you can't necessarily do that. One Piece, you had to slowly grind to get to the point where it's like, holy shit, this is a masterpiece. When Naruto, not that I'm saying it's a masterpiece or anything like that, but a lot of the cool shit, a lot of the shit that made people fall in love with it, you can do it fairly easy, fairly early on, because it's like, it's not that complex. It's like, get a couple of characters, get them rivals, get the rags to riches story. So it is an interesting discussion, and it makes me think as well, because for the longest time, Shonen manga, and Shonen Jump especially, but even majority of them, they were kind of using the recipe of Dragon Ball Z. That era of shonen manga, to a certain degree, and again, no shade, I'm not saying anybody's copying off of anything. What I'm saying is the motto for a long time with that generation in particular, Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece, was Dragon Ball Z. Like Naruto, like even down to, which is ridiculous, and I'm not saying again, but it's a little ridiculous, but like the orange jumpsuit, you know what I'm saying? Let's get the orange shit. The battles, the action pieces, which Naruto really heavily and Shippuden started to go after, was that of Dragon Ball Z. It seems as though the torch has been passed down. And now, for whatever reasons, whether it be the global money, whether it be it's too hard to capture the magic that is One Piece, it seems as though Naruto took up the mantle of the standard of what a lot of shonen battle manga want to be. It's no longer the Dragon Ball Z aspect, even though Dragon Ball Super is back and kicking ass, but there's a different story with Dragon Ball. I mean, to lightly touch up on it with Dragon Ball at this point, especially with Super, yeah, I'm sure there is some new fans to it, but a lot of it has to do with people that have been into this franchise for many, many years. A lot of people, they've been watching Dragon Ball since it was on Toonami, and et cetera, et cetera. It's been around for a long time, so it's a little bit different opposed to something that, yeah, Naruto has been around, but nowhere near as long as Dragon Ball. You know what I'm saying? Naruto came after Dragon Ball already had finished its run with GT included. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little bit different of a circumstance there. And again, I feel as though Naruto now has become what Dragon Ball was. And it's going to be interesting to see, you know, 10, 15 years from now, what will be that new torch passer, so to speak. What will Naruto pass the torch down to? If My Hero Academia and Black Clover and a couple other series as well is trying to model themselves after Naruto. Again, My Hero Academia eventually completely breaks away and starts really going on its own path. Black Clover does the same thing as well. Obviously, the anime just started, so you're not going to know about it. But it does start to slowly go into its own path. But again, I just find it really interesting. One Piece, biggest thing ever, but people are more so gravitating towards using a blueprint of Naruto. And then, of course, there's the argument there, which people are going to immediately come in, but Naruto used Hunter x Hunter as a blueprint. It did to a certain extent. There's a lot of similarities, the tuning exams from the Hunter exams, etc., etc. But at the end of the day, especially going into the Shippuden era, one of the big pieces that even Hunter x Hunter, Yu Yu Hakusho, and all that shit, they were inspired by what Dragon Ball Z did. And that seems to not be the case anymore. Yes, you still have to have your big action pieces that Dragon Ball Z set out as a standard, although people will go into, hey, what about Fist of the North Star? Fist of the North Star, as legendary as it is, it wasn't the big inspiration globally that something like Dragon Ball Z became. And now Naruto's it. So I'm kind of curious, first of all, is there something that I missed? Why would modern shonen manga rather be modeled after Naruto instead of One Piece? Is there something that I'm just not seeing here, aside from, again, capturing the magic that is One Piece and the pacing and the Western sales, because a lot of mangaka, they dream and they look at what Pokemon became and they look at what Dragon Ball Z became. They dream of being able to do that, because I'm sure there is a lot of money. Just being real, there is a lot of money if you can get the next Pokemon to blow the fuck up in the West and, you know, make all that money. So do you think it's mainly a money thing? Also, do you think that Naruto has truly become what Dragon Ball Z was for a long time, where that's the standard of what shonen battle manga is? And if that's the case, what do you think, if any series out right now, will be the one that eventually passes the torch down and people say, okay, series got to be modeled after that now? It's going to be interesting to see long time from now. Obviously, Naruto is still somewhat remnants around there with Boruto and shit like that. And a lot of these series are still fresh. It's only been a few years. With My Hero Academia is about 150 chapters. Black Clover is about 120 chapters. So it's still fresh with both of these series. But yeah, seems as though Naruto became what Dragon Ball Z was, and that's the standard for shonen battle manga, for better or worse. You know, a lot of these series, you could argue, some people say Hero Academia is better than Naruto, but that's a whole different discussion for a whole other time. Your overall thoughts of this, but that's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and stalk my Facebook to get more when the video ends. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.